be here today. I'm on my own doing a special little interview with the owner and his wife from Mother of Coffee, the Ethiopian restaurant in Left Bank. Welcome to the Blackhouse, and how are you guys doing?
Awesome. Thank you for having us. We are well, praise God.
That's good.
Good, yeah, praise God.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you finally come in, because I really want to get through more businesses that are in Wellington, run by African people, and it'll be really good. It's really good that you've come in. I find it pretty hard to tap them down to come in, because you guys are so busy at whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I just want to start out with you giving us a little bit of a picture of who you are, where you've come from, and a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into some other questions. So.
Okay, sounds good. I think I should be all right to talk about a little bit of ourselves, because recently, a week ago, we had another interview.
Oh, really?
The speaker series at Tipapa.
Oh, what was that?
On Wellington on Plate.
Oh, nice. Oh, right, because that's coming up, yeah?
It's already on now.
It's already on now.
So they invited us to speak about same like an hour talking. So
Yeah.
I got all the, just to let you know,
All the talking points.
I'm all warmed up.
You're fully prepared for it.
Prepared.
Yeah.
But
So introduce the both of you.
my name is Joel Teka,
Yeah.
or Joel Teka. I was born in Ethiopia in 1983,
Okay.
and I was born in a capital city there, where I grew up with my mom and dad, and
Addis Ababa?
Addis Ababa,
Mhm.
where I was the only child growing up in a family, in Ethiopia and Addis Ababa. I had a good life. I had no rough life coming up until my parents got splitted and went on their own journey.
Right, was this to do with, did they split up because of war, or?
Yeah, it was,
okay.
it split up because of all personal issues as well. And
Okay.
in the country, inside the country, it was not too comfortable as well to get into financial stability
Right.
in order to get to what they want to get. So I was left aside where my wife, Hiwot, where she lived,
Yeah.
where our parents were like neighbors. I
Okay.
didn't really know her then. I didn't meet her properly as well, as I was left with my auntie,
Okay.
where she had a bar.
Right.
A bar house, like a house, and it's in the back is a house, and
Yes.
in the front is a bar.
We call them, in Tanzania, we call them, well, I think we call them dukas.
Dugas.
Dukas, yeah.
We call them I don't know what we call them, but there is set up of like a house business, but
Yeah.
it's in the front, and it's like a bar and
Yeah.
things like that. So I was left aside with her. My mom and my dad left to Kenya.
Yeah.
My dad left Kenya. My mom went to Saudi Arabia to work
Okay.
as a refugee. So both were. After a while, I heard they told me that they did that because of to provide for me and themselves to a better life.
So these bars that were running from people's houses, were you selling just regular beer, or were you, like brand beer, or were you making your own alcoholic beverages?
Both.
Both. Okay. What's the alcoholic beverage?
Ethiopian alcohol beverage is called Tej.
Tej. What's it made from?
It's made out of honey, orange, sugar. It's like a homemade.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Do you make it here?
We don't make it.
Oh.
I can get you really messed up if you actually drink it.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I was brought up in that business area. See my auntie going up and down, in the evening she's really busy, and then being left behind by my parents with her has given me a little bit of exposure to how business runs.
Yeah, right.
That customers feel, people come in.
Yeah.
I used to hang around with my auntie up and going in there and there.
Yeah.
So my dad had a chance after how many years? So he left me there 7. He had another chance to go to the capital of
Okay, yep.
The name.
Nairobi? Right.
So he was at Nairobi, he was there, and then he got really sick. He got bitten by, the yellow mosquito?
The one that gives you malaria?
That's the one, the bad one, the one could kill you.
Yeah.
He was to the point of death. He was really into that state. So
malaria can get really serious.
Yeah, and then he told me that by his word himself that he made a promise, like to God, basically saying, if you let me live, for the rest, I will serve you. If you give me a chance, because everyone who had been bitten by that mosquito had death, basically. He was expected to die.
So there's because there's two types of mosquitoes, right? Like I remember relatives of mine that were staying in the house when I was in Dar es Salaam would get malaria on a regular basis. Like they'd catch it like the flu, but it was very painful. Very, very painful for them. So, but I hadn't seen the other one, but I know that it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, there are different types. So anyway, this happened, and then he made a promise to God that he will serve, and then miraculously he got well. He got well, he got better, so he kept his promise, and then he became a pastor there. He became a leader of a small fellowship church. They started praying and things like that. And then he had another door open opportunity, a person who came here in 1995 in New Zealand, one of the first refugees who came to New Zealand from Eastern Africa.
Right.
So when those people who knew who had contact with him, gave him an opportunity to apply as a refugee to come here.
Right. Okay.
So that's when the door opened for him to come, and then he came in 1996.
Okay, yeah, I was here then. I just moved to Wellington then.
Yeah, 1996 he arrived, and then he chose Wellington as his location when he was given a chance to choose from all the cities in New Zealand.
It was probably the better place during that time because I think Wellington was more the center of African residents. Okay. I think now it's Auckland, right? But back then it was Wellington.
Yeah. He was there. So he made a decision to base here, and then he had friends as well, so he was connected with. That's now, I think when I looked it up online, when I did the research for Wellington on Play. Yeah. There was then, I think there were 500 or something like that, an Ethiopian Eritrean group. Yeah. And then slowly grew. By the time I arrived, once I got noticed by my dad that he actually made it through to any European country, I had no idea
where were you at this time?
I was in Ethiopia.
Right. Okay. Right.
I was still with my auntie, going to high school. Yeah. Going to Cathedral High School, where male students and female students are separated, and very strict. Yeah. High school.
And then you come to Wellington.
Wellington High School.
Yeah. So, that would have blown your mind.
Oh yeah, I was very, very shy person. To talk to a girl like my wife, I had to talk like this and slowly look up. Yeah. I was very shy when I was a teenager because the way they taught us, the way we were separated from other girls. Yeah. And us, and there is no too much communication between the girls and us, except my cousins. So as I'm the only family as well. As I'm the only child in the family, I had no friends as well, like family, friends, close friends. Yeah. So I got a chance to hear that my dad had to come here, and then I said, okay, that's great news, as he made it through. And then he said, okay, we're communicating then by letter. There's no email.
Yeah, there's no email. There's no
Facebook, there's
WhatsApp.
No, not like that. It was a letter and a photo I received. Yeah. Him with his friends, arrived in New Zealand. Right. So I applied. Yeah. And I was accepted to application through a refugee migrants.
Right. Yeah. So what was that process like, going from like you get that information that you can now come to New Zealand? What are you doing when you get that information? Like what's happening in that space right there?
In that space, and at that, what my experience in that, then was very simple. I remember the form was like a couple of pages of forms I had to fill out.
Yeah.
And then put my picture and my passport photo in there.
Right.
And then I sent it away, and and then I had another interview at the European embassy or something. I can't remember. A UN embassy.
Right.
UN
Okay.
embassy.
Yeah.
I went there for an interview. I remember that with my auntie. They interviewed us, and I filled some form.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of months, we got the visa.
Okay, so the visa just arrives. You have to organise your own travel.
No.
No, what happens
the
then?
UN.
Oh, okay.
Because we are immigrants. Remember that?
Right.
The application was under immigrants. So my dad was under immigrants, which the provision of UN and the New Zealand immigration, whatever they had then, now is very different, way different.
Yeah.
Back then they used to help immigrants. So they were in the spirit of help, in the spirit of get people out of the Kenyan immigration area, whatever was going on there. So I was part of. I'm his son. So he applied as me as coming through that same process.
Right.
So we had no even pay. I've been paid for a fare.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So we arrived as immigrants.
Yeah.
So I was placed in Auckland, the immigration camp.
Yeah, in Mangere?
Mangere.
Yeah.
I was placed there. As everyone goes through that process who comes like that.
Yeah.
So when I was there, I came in, and then I remember, just let me tell you this, and I'll move on to the. I remember this experience as I come to an airport.
Yeah.
As I grown up, my dad had never seen me as like got tall and slim.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I haven't sent him much pictures.
Yeah.
And so when I got to airport, he was waiting for me, as to welcome me.
Yeah.
But I walked past, in the crowd, through him, went into the bus, and went to the Mangere Center.
What, you didn't recognize him?
I didn't recognize him.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't recognize me as well.
Oh my gosh.
So I was confused. I was like a sheep led into the all the way.
Were you supposed to go to the Mangere camp?
Yeah, that's
you
right.
were.
Yeah,
okay, so you ended up in the right place.
I ended up.
You didn't end up in the wrong place.
I went to that place. So he came to the Mangere area, and then we greeted. I remember calling him by name because I had no experience of dad, things like this. I had called him by name, and he was like shocked. Oh, you grown up?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens, you know.
Yeah. So after that, I came to Wellington, got educated, going to Wellington High School, which is the center. And
that would have been a bit of a culture shock from African schools.
It was a big shock.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I had a chance again, like same experience, knowing what Wellington High School is like back then, I wouldn't go. I would protest.
Right? Why is that? My oldest went to Welly High. What's your problem with Welly High?
Nothing wrong. It's just my attitude toward friendship as I grow up is very close.
Right.
So I trusted friends. I trusted people, because we in Cathedral High School, we were very close friends. You know, male and male. We didn't know that mindset. We hug each other hold each other hands on the street and walk. And if you do this now, you'd be considered as a different, person.
Yeah.
But we were so close. Now, when I got here, I got too close to one of my friends who had an addiction to drugs.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that led me into different experience of the teenage life, which must go through that. Yeah. But my one was I got into a little bit deeper. Yeah. Into that, so that was the things I think I would have corrected. But I'm glad actually I go on through that sometimes in order to actually learn and see that part of
understand what that will. Yeah, I know. Like we've got a big problem in Wellington with the meth use. Yeah. I noticed that when I came back. Oh, yeah. Tweakers. Yeah, and just people who are abusing.
Meth actually was not. didn't even exist then.
What was the drug of choice? But so you're talking about the early 2000s?
Yeah, 1999.
Right. Okay.
2000.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
And 2000 when Chronic, Dr. Dre and whatever music came out.
Right.
That was the booster of Chronic.
Yeah.
Which is weed.
Yeah.
That we did explore to the max.
Right. When did meth hit the streets then? Because when I left it, I don't remember meth being an issue in Wellington. But when I came back, yeah, I was seeing like meth is an issue here. Meth's a problem. Yeah, and it's a big problem in Australia.
Exactly.
You know.
So it did some damage to my education as well.
Right.
I got expelled from school, and then I had to go back home with my dad, I was in a state of depression.
Right.
My dad was so disappointed with me. Like, I brought you here to learn. Why you put me in this situation? It's like my dad, and I was like, why are you talking about you? So now it was all about his repetition, because he was a leader of the church.
Yeah.
Pastor. So at that time I had in a state of depression, but I made a decision to stop. I made a decision to stop, and I was arrested a few times as well.
Yeah.
In New Zealand. For different reasons. I was in a relation with the gangs as well. So in that, as I was arrested, I started to become more detox.
Right.
I started keeping away from friends and like that.
The bad influences.
And that gave me a chance to reflect and to see where the destiny, where am I going? So I prayed. I called out to God.
How did you manage, well, you said you were detoxing. How were you is that from alcohol and marijuana and whatever else you were taking?
All substance.
How were you managing that?
I was managing that with, to be honest with you, in prison is worse than outside. It can come in inside while you're inside. But you have to be a decision maker. Yeah. Make a decision, saying no. No, and then make a promise to yourself. Yeah. And what made me more stronger is making a promise to God. Right.
So that God was a big influence in this.
Very big influence. Yeah. Because I remember the scripts I wrote in prison while I was sitting there in a prison cell. I still have that script in my clothes. Sometimes I go back and look at the promises I made to God. There are 3 or 7 of them. Yeah. I remember the 3 in my head still. Yeah. That I will never do this. I will never do this. I will never do this. Yeah. Help me, God. Yeah. Not to do this. Help me to live for you. Okay. Give me the chance to to glorify you. Yeah. Things like that. And then those promises I made to myself and to God were like the anchor. They were like
the anchor for you.
The anchor.
It's really interesting that you're talking about your spirituality, because it actually comes into a question I was going to ask you later on. But I get from what you're saying is that your spirituality has been, like you said, a massive anchor and a guiding tool for you in your life. I was wondering, I might just ask you this question now. Most people know that Ethiopia has a famous coffee ritual. Yeah. Is this usually performed by women? It is, right?
It is.
Yeah. But can you tell us a bit about the coffee rituals, why they came, how they came about, and why? And is there a connection to coffee and spirituality and just basically holding on to your culture? Because it feels like the spirituality that you're talking about is very connected to your cultural upbringing. Okay, can you just tell us a little bit about that?
The coffee. Back then, they used it as a method of meditation in Ethiopian tradition. Meditation. Yeah. When they put incense while they did the performance, which is in the negative, in the darker side. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
That is the African witchcraft.
Oh, you're talking about paganism and animism okay.
Demon worship, things like that.
Right.
So in order to entertain that spirit, the spirit actually has demand. Sometimes it demands things.
Like coffee.
Coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. So he it's like it's like creating an atmosphere that spirit sometimes demands in order for him to give him guidance, blessing, whatever they do.
Right.
They do that in that side. There's two sides to it.
Okay.
They make the coffee, they drink the coffee, they enjoy it with their family.
Yeah.
But while they create the ritual, as it becomes a ritual,
yeah.
you do it in a certain time, you do it in a certain day, and you're doing it for this purpose. It becomes a spiritual sacrifice. It becomes like
like a summoning or something.
Yeah, summoning, worship. It becomes a worship.
Okay.
They put the incense on the coal and the fire, and they create the smoke. That's the side of the coffee ceremony, which has the different side to it.
Yeah.
But this, in the traditional way, we do it as just for fun and family and friends when they come together, and it creates the atmosphere, because coffee has a power to like waking you up, giving you a kick.
Yeah, giving you a bit of a kick. I heard that if they could have, back in the day when they discovered coffee, they'd already discovered chud.
Yeah.
And if chud could have travelled the world as easily as coffee beans did, we'd all be chewing chud today. Not drinking coffee.
It's a drug.
Yeah, we'll be taking the drug.
It's a legal drug.
So, like, it's just that coffee beans travelled, across the sea a lot better than chud does, because it would have dried out.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't just fly over and have it fresh or anything like that.
Yeah, being founded in Ethiopia. I don't know if you know this. You know this is found in Ethiopia.
Coffee?
The coffee beans. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that it was founded in Ethiopia, but I knew coffee beans came from Africa, but I didn't know whereabouts.
This is Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So the guy called Kaldi, by the name of Kaldi, they could look it up later. As a shepherd of a goat, he had like a farm of goats,
right?
And then he shipped. That's before AD.
Right.
It's a very old story.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's accurate or not, but that's the story online. You could look it up. As he was shepherding, the goat was eating the goats eating the leaf of the plant of the tree.
Right. Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah.
As they eat, and then he noticed a certain goat after he eats that tree. He's very excited, running
around in circles.
Yeah, running around, jumping around.
He's high.
Dancing and things like that.
Yeah.
It's called now the dancing goat.
Right.
If you look at the dancing goat, it comes up, which is that he was, okay, this tree has some sort of, medicinal, maybe, that's how they see it, as a medicine.
Yeah.
So he took the fruit and then dried it, did all the exploration to it. And then it became coffee, which is roasting it and then grounding it, putting it in a clay pot.
Yeah.
And then that's how we drink it at the moment. That's traditional.
Right. And that's how you, like, in your shop, are you preparing it in that traditional way?
Exactly.
Using clay pots and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
All over clay pots. Yeah.
And are you doing it over coals, or are you just doing it over element?
Sometimes cold. Sometimes we do element, depending on how busy we can get.
Yeah. Well, when I came back from Australia, your store was one of the first ones that I noticed on Ridderford Street, because you had that amazing artwork on the side of the building. So your cafe became a really a focal point in Newtown, yeah? So tell us about the artwork that you had done on your shop in Ridderford Street, and also about like the events that you hold. Because I noticed you did have a couple of events up there. Is that something you're still... Well, let's just talk about the artwork, because I noticed you've got some really nice artwork in your left bank shop as well. Just tell me a little bit about the artwork and what's your vision for that?
Art is art. I was interested, and my wife is interested in art as well, because as I told you in my story, after leaving from Wellington High School, making a decision, to follow God, making a decision to weigh off my past. I made a discovery, like an idea. Okay, I can draw, I can do this and this and that. So let's go to educate that better. So I went to Joel Teka, the one on Church Street, Woodcock.
Yeah.
Went there for 5 years. I studied there digital media.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
right.
graphic design. multimedia, even recording like this,
Yeah.
filming, and all this. And then I chose print. I chose, I
Right.
chose print, and I So I majored in print. That's why we had a Newtown
Yeah, you
shop,
had the print store.
printing store.
Right.
We had a gallery upstairs.
Did you do photography as well?
Photography as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
that so I was very interested into art. My cultural as well in the background, because art is another form of expression.
Yeah.
We believe an expression of a spiritual expression,
Yeah.
plus an expression of your emotions and identity. So Ethiopia has, if you look at it online, it has very deep art
Yeah.
and unique art out of the African countries,
Yeah.
even out of the world, because in order for them to create that, they have to keep the root that has not been contaminated by a different culture.
Right.
It's not colonized, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
The Ethiopian art has not been touched by, even the Italy tried to invade it,
Yeah.
try to steal some art. There is recently returned a lot of artwork back to Ethiopia.
Oh, okay. So, like, what happened when the Italians came? Did they just sort of come in and go, nah, this isn't for us,
They
and
got
leave?
kicked out.
They got kicked out. Okay.
There was a big war.
So they tried to take over. Yeah.
They tried to take over, but our forefathers, they stood their ground, and a lot of was shared. So
I didn't realize art was your first love.
we love art. I love art. I love clothing as well. We love clothing.
Yeah.
So we saw that the lady that was you see in Newtown. We saw her as an Ethiopia, basically.
Right.
A representative of an Ethiopia.
So that was that big painting on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because that wasn't there when I left Wellington in 2006 and came back in 2015, and I just love that. I was in Newtown before I left, so when coming into Newtown and seeing that picture on the side of the wall, that was your focal point as you're driving down Rutherford Street. Was really
Took
like
a lot of guts to do that.
Really? Why was that?
Because you'll be surrounded by different cultures in Newtown.
Yeah.
In order for you to stand out with your own, it takes a little bit of courage, because people ask, are you sure you want to put this up here?
Why not put it up there?
Exactly. But I said, why not put it up here?
Yeah.
We live here. I mean, we're not from here. I know that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people try to remind me that I'm not from here, so I shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, like let's be fair about that.
Yeah.
Like Newtown was the focal point of the African community in Wellington for a very long time. I think it just changed between 2006 and 2015. But it definitely was the focal point. That's where the parties were, that's where the gatherings were, that's where the shops were, that's where you'd go to get, if you're going to go and get maize meal or whatever, like we had ugali, you have to go to Newtown, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, why not?
Why not, exactly.
Why not? We're just going through, with what we're going through now, I guess, is a bit of a, what do you call it, gentrification. I think, like, Newtown's become very gentrified now in comparison to the mid-1990s. Yeah. So, no, I was like, wow. Like, every time you drove down Rutherford Street, you just saw this amazing mural on the wall.
Yeah.
And what was it like moving from Newtown, which obviously your roots in New Zealand is actually Newtown? What was it like moving to the city?
Coming to the city. So before we moved to the city, even the kid, before the idea come, we want to move somewhere. We have the financial support now. And there was no plan to move.
Right.
There was no plan even to start food business in our studio. The idea was print studio, do photography, do internet, do this and that, do coffee, and then maybe sometimes do food takeaway. Because after we see Newtown Festival was a very eye-opener, and the people were very interested into the culture. The vegan people were there. The vegetarian people were there, and they consumed everything we put out. So we were, okay, there's actually a market for traditional Ethiopian food. Even though we've seen different Ethiopian foods come up before and they'd fall because of different reasons. but we saw it as another creative area. It's
Yeah.
another department we can actually slowly grow.
Yeah.
So while we were just thinking about that, the building we were in Newtown became earthquake proof.
Yeah.
Meaning that we cannot even build a kitchen, proper restaurant, proper food thing like over there. We just do print and coffee, and that's it. And so we cannot maintain business. It was very, very low on business.
Yeah, and then COVID hits.
COVID hits. So before COVID though, God gave us a chance. I believe that I have to give glory to God in this matter, because me and my wife, we have gone through a lot in Newtown to carry on the business, and we came to the stage to stop now. We have to stop now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you go to we call it liquidation,
Yeah.
we go into bankrupt and go into a debt and keep borrowing money.
Yeah.
So we have to do so. We have to stop, and then we have to pray.
So the main reason that you moved from Newtown is because of the earthquakes of 2016.
The building was it's not suitable for a bigger business. It was suitable for print.
Right.
Printing though, everyone can print now. You don't need to be printing now.
Yeah.
You can just things are growing fast. Technology is growing fast.
Yeah.
It is not much printing going on. We want to save that planet.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just send things via internet.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
things were going photography, even weddings, things like that. It's still okay, but passport photo, you can do it on your phone, things like that. So business were in the digital thing, it was going down unless you have big portfolio working for big companies.
Right.
So that's when we called out to God, and then God answered our prayer. We prayed that, if you have a plan for us in this city, if you have a plan for us in this country, to represent your name, not our name, but your name to be glorified. Give us a chance, show us a sign. That's what the prayer was. Show us a sign, give us a sign. We had 2 kids by the name of David and Tabitha. We want to raise our kids here, and we be a blessing to the community, be a blessing to people who might be like us, who just arrived, who want to come up into business world or raise family. Yeah. So he answered. Seriously, I have to say that he answered by pointing this. I didn't Google this place. Yeah. I didn't went looking for a place like I should then. Yeah. But a person called me and said, "Joe, there's a place over here. Maybe you should think about it." Right. And with a picture. Yep. And then I went with my wife and we took a photo of the place with a number. We called up a number, and then the guy came and just said, "Yep, this is the place. This is the price. Everything is set up. Everything kitchen is everything." And you've got quite a big kitchen there, right? Big kitchen. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a miracle, big miracle. It's nothing we have not done. Everything was set up for us there. Yeah. So we just shook hands straight there. We didn't hesitate. Yeah. We just said thank you. We will take it. Yeah. We will just even though we have to borrow money even to get things started. Yeah. We are debt free now, thank God. We really? Yeah. That's amazing. Praise God. Yeah. Oh, congratulations. Thank you. I don't know anybody who's debt-free in New Zealand. You might be the only 2. I'm pretty sure. Isn't that easy? I'm only debt-free because I don't take on debt. I pay cash. It takes a while. Yeah. And trusting God, trusting Him to lead us, trusting Him. All the Newtown stuff we had, the seats of different type of seats, different color seats. You know, when you buy from up shops, that's what we got to the left bank. Have you ever been to the tip shop? Yeah. Yeah, like if you want to get chairs from restaurants and stuff, the tip shop is the place to go. Like I got my whole patio set all set out from the tip shop. Yeah. I mean, we're not regardless of smaller things. And thinking about like all these cafes and businesses that have gone under, you can go to the tip shop, get all the furniture, and make things like look really flash. Yeah. Cool. So that's how we got there, and we were so glad to just kick it off there from humbly, slowly started off from there, and then we got tempted to change the name, but we're gonna keep the name. We were gonna change it to a Hiwot, Ethiopian food and restaurant, but no, we're gonna keep the name, the Mother of Coffee. So Rehoboth was the first year. We got
Rehoboth.
Rehoboth.
What is that? I
Rehoboth,
keep seeing that everywhere. What does that mean?
it's in the Hebrew translation of God has made a space for us.
Right.
A space. I mean, as our space has grown. God
Right.
has grown us a little bit.
Okay.
You know,
And it's all in capital letters.
it's
What,
all in capital letters.
yeah, I keep thinking like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So what is each letter for a word? Like what is it read out?
Rehoboth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does each letter stand for a word?
No.
No,
It's
oh, okay.
all together.
Yeah.
It's a story of the son of Abraham, which is Isaac,
Mm.
was trying to dig a well for him to get a water. And on the book of Genesis, as he was digging, trying
Mhm.
to find water, and the enemies, the Philistines or the people around that area, always come and take, this is our well, and they take it off him.
Right.
He never fought back, as and the scripture says. Then he goes to another area, he digs a well, and the second time they come to take over him, they say,
Right.
this is our well. The third one though, he dig a well, then no one came to actually to fight him for that well.
Yeah.
And then that well he called Rehoboth.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that well still exists in Israel.
Okay.
So that was the meaning behind it, that he provided for us. So we still there until today,
Mm.
until I don't know when, and just providing,
Yeah.
providing to people, giving to people. As you've seen, I don't know, online on the previews, our portions are different than the portions of plates of some restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, our hearts is a giver heart, is not holding back.
I
Even
haven't
though
actually
it's
had a meal. I've
positive.
come to your place for coffee, but I haven't had a meal there yet. But
You
I know, no, I haven't had a meal there yet, but I know that, like, your food, okay, like, I know that your food is, it ticks all the buzzwords of, is it veganism or vegetarian? What do you call your,
half and half.
half and half.
We're doing meat now.
and also gluten-free, like, you tick all them buzzwords for what people are into when it comes to eating,
Allergies.
and allergies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, you know, the other thing I wanted to ask you about was, does the Ethiopian food that you're serving, the gluten-free and the vegan vegetarian dishes, do you have, like, I guess I'd call it any medical or traditional reasons why you actually prescribe gluten-free or even vegan vegetarian food? Like, is there any traditional reasons, like medical or maybe even spiritual reasons, like why you eat that kind of food?
There is a spiritual. How long is the fasting in Ethiopia? There's a season in Ethiopia. They fast for Easter period.
Yep. Lent.
Yeah, Christmas period.
Okay, and
So
Christmas
the
as well.
Orthodox faith in Ethiopia is bigger
Right. Okay.
than Protestants or other faiths.
Yeah.
Even more than the Muslims as well. So 70% of Ethiopians are Orthodox.
Right.
So the Orthodox faith and people have
Yeah.
small fasting times for them to enjoy that fasting food. Basically, it's fasting food.
Okay.
Vegan food is fasting food. So you're avoiding the butter, you're avoiding the meat, you're avoiding the chicken, you're avoiding all the meat things in order for a couple of months. That's what they do usually.
Right.
And then when they finish the couple of months or seasons of the Easter period, when we celebrate Easter, for example, after that Easter day, in the evening, they make the best chicken stew,
Yeah.
which is called dorowat.
Dorowat, yeah. It's the
Dorowat.
spice and the eggs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they make that.
You also have, when I was in Australia, I spent time in Footscray and went to some Ethiopian restaurants there, and they also had raw meat dishes. What's the deal with raw meat? Because, like, it's almost like you've got the vegan, gluten-free, and then you've got these raw meat. Are they marinated? What's the story with that?
They are marinated, right?
Yeah.
Marinated with what?
With Nida and Korima.
She knows more.
You've got to introduce your wife properly, because like we got right into talking to you. Then I know you said you were going to do most of the talking, so please tell us your name and yeah, are you one of the chefs?
I'm not chef, but I cook for my house.
Right.
Yeah. My name is Hiwot. I'm Joel's wife, and we have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, William Guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, her cooking has inspired me.
Right.
I have to say, because the way she cooks, her mother, she told me that she doesn't mind. Her mother has taught her a lot from childhood, as Africans mothers do.
Yeah.
So that has applied into the items and the plates we put out in Mother of Coffee.
Right.
And plus the creativity I told you earlier of design and things like that, colors,
color
combinations.
Yeah.
Most of the plates we do is combo.
Yeah.
And the combo is the most popular plate, which is all colors: yellow, red, orange, green, the kale, and things like that. Creating the art, like creating an art, basically. So this her knowledge of things like that, it is applies to the
presentation of everything.
Presentation is very, very important to us, and now we learned we are very, very eye detail for presentation.
Right.
And then we are looking, even if you don't mind, calling out to people who actually have skills in Ethiopian cooking. They're welcome to come and show us the skills.
Right, into your restaurant and like trial it and trial out. Did you hear that? Everybody, if you're looking for a job and you're a chef and you can cook Ethiopian food, come down to Lift Bank. I've got another question for you. Your coffee beans, where do you source them? Like, is there a lot of work that goes into sourcing those coffee beans? And
the green beans, it comes in the green beans first, which is before roasted. We used to source them from Ethiopia ourselves,
right?
From family, friends who were able to send it through right before COVID.
Right.
Now after COVID, things have got a little bit complicated through shipping.
Yeah.
The shipping has become very delayed, things like that. So now we have a supplier through.
So here we are in Left Bank. And if you come to the end of Left Bank, you will find Mother of Coffee Ethiopian cuisine restaurant. So let's go have a look inside and see what they're doing.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I've come here to talk about the beans. That's what we were talking about just before our video cut off. So,
I wish I knew much about beans.
So I'm going to go out the back here. And we're going to find out more about beans.
Mother of Coffee.
Mother of Coffee.
This is Sarah.
Hello, Sarah.
Our youngest stuff.
So when we were in the studio, we were talking about beans and where the beans come from.
Yeah.
What can you tell me?
The coffee beans.
Yeah. Do you have any here that you can show us?
Yeah, I could show you the raw coffee beans just over there.
Okay.
This is before roasted.
Right.
Yeah. After roasted, it gets darker and darker and darker and smokier.
Yeah.
And then we can ground it and boil it in a clay pot. That's what we call traditional coffee.
Okay. And where do these beans come from?
We source them from Trade Aid at the moment.
Trade Aid?
We used to bring them before COVID. We used to bring them. From
Ethiopia,
Yeah.
Hailu region. Now we're just sourcing them from our middleman trade aid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Which you can buy them from in that pack as well, like that.
the pack's at the back here?
Packs.
Ah. So how much would a packet of these cost?
$11.
$11. And they're all green like that?
No,
No.
those are roasted.
These ones are already roasted?
Yeah, this is before roasted.
Okay.
And we boil it in this clay pot. I'm sure most people are Ethiopian know this pot
Yeah.
called jabana,
Yeah.
which is the traditional way of making. It's like Turkish coffee, very strong coffee.
Yeah.
So, and they get poured out into this cup basically. So you drink it like a shot. Yes, go for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so do you get busy on a Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do. We are busy today because we were closed yesterday.
Right.
So when it's, we usually if we close one day, that means the following day will be busier.
Yeah. Wow, look at this place. So, anything else you'd like to say about Mother of Coffee before I head back to the suburbs?
The shops, yeah, sure. Thank you I would like to say thank you, Leah, and all the group from Blackhouse
Oh, you're welcome.
for representing us. We support you as well. We encourage you to keep going. And send all the love from the Mother of Coffee.
Mother of Coffee.
And come have a coffee sometime on the house. Have a dinner on the house.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Thank you. Bye. And that's the Blackhouse. See you next week.